And I realized that what really lights me up is every time I learn something, the only thing I really want to do is share it with somebody. If I pick up a new idea or something actionable that can improve my life or help me achieve my goals, I just want to share it with people.
Hey everybody, I am back. So this week we have one of Stephen's friends, and Stephen, thank you for the beautiful note you sent me. That was very sweet of you. This is Dean Bakari. He's a motivational speaker, writer, and entrepreneur. He's hosted the Dean Bakari Meaningful Show. It's one of the most popular personal development podcasts. I just downloaded it, and you should too, in the world. Dean's also the founder of FlashBooks. Getflashbooks.com is what you can do to read about FlashBooks, and basically what these are nonfiction books that are summarized in an audible tape that you can listen to in 20 minutes or less, or a 10-page PDF which you can read, where they've taken popular books that are kind of sitting on your desk that you don't read and summarize it so you get the highlights. You can learn more about him if you go to www.deanbakari.com. Dean, thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
So, how did you get started as a motivational speaker?
Well, I've always sort of been that kid that volunteered in class to read out loud, and I've always enjoyed speaking. I've always enjoyed communicating. I just never had a clear sense of what I wanted to communicate and what I wanted to talk about until I sort of got into this personal development world. And interestingly, that happened around 20, 21 years of age. I was just getting out of college. I was sort of lost. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't know where I wanted to go and what kind of work I wanted to do. All I knew was that for the past 10 years, I'd been telling everybody I was going to be a lawyer. And the reason why I kept saying that was because everybody got so excited every time I said I was going to go to law school and that I wanted to be a lawyer.
That happened with me with demo school. And guess what?
You did it though. You made it, man. And you know, I was in a position where I thought, okay, anytime anybody asks me what I'm going to do when I get out of school or when I grow up, I say I'm going to be a lawyer. People get so excited for me. They're impressed. My parents are happy about it. And everybody was happy except for me. And that didn't really dawn on me until I was grown up and ready to actually enter this world and get into a career. And I realized that I didn't want to go to law school, and at the last minute I tore up my application and I said, I don't know what I'm going to do, but it's not going to be law. Not because it's not a great profession. It's an incredible profession. We need lawyers. It's just not for me. And so I sort of just kind of meandered for a little while, trying to figure things out. I ended up here in California from Virginia, which is where I went to college. And I sort of got into this, started reading, and I started educating myself on things like how to grow, how to develop yourself, how to become better. I started reading career books and self-improvement books. And that helped me realize that, you know, it's out of all these different things that I've tried, because I tried a bunch of stuff, none of which really kind of lit me up. And I realized that what really lights me up is every time I learn something, the only thing I really want to do is share it with somebody. If I pick up a new idea or something actionable that can improve my life or help me achieve my goals, I just want to share it with people. And I thought, okay, that's my thing. And that's how I started talking about it, and I started sharing this with friends, and then other friends of mine asked me to come and talk to either their colleagues or at their companies or at nonprofits. I started speaking in different places, including Toastmasters and stuff like that as well. And that's kind of how it took off. And then I started writing about personal development, I started a podcast about personal development, and I even started a company geared and sort of centered around.
Did you ever do any kind of like intensive speaker training, like work with like a coach to
Sure.
to teach you how to speak, or or did you just like, okay, I'm just going to start sharing my stuff and develop it that way?
Yeah, I mean, I started off untrained, super sloppy, not really knowing how to communicate with impact. And it was actually during one of my sort of lost moments where I was trying to figure out what kind of career path I wanted to go into. And during this period, I thought I wanted to be an actor, and just like probably half the people here in LA. And I thought I wanted to do that, so I started taking acting classes in between another full-time job that I was, going to. And I quickly realized that wasn't for me, not because it's not beautiful, but because I like being me. And so one day after acting class, I saw right across the hallway from the class that I was attending, there was a sign that said "Become a host," like become a TV host or a broadcast host or honor host of some kind. I thought, wow, that's interesting. And so I actually walked in there, I grabbed a pamphlet, and then the next week I attended a workshop and I started taking classes there. And that experience taught me a lot about how to present yourself on camera or just behind the microphone, how to speak with impact, and how to just inspire people.
So was this like a formal class that you
took?
Yeah.
That was one of the classes that I took.
Where was that?
That was off Bundy.
And does it still exist?
I believe it does.
What's it called?
Yeah, it's Marky Costello's class.
Okay.
It's called Become a Host.
Yeah, I've heard of it. Yeah. I've heard really good things about it.
It's great. Yeah, if you want a crash course on how to communicate and how to do it using forms of media like social media,
right,
or even podcasting on radio, that's a great class to take.
So you start this career, you're going out as a motivational speaker. How did the whole podcast thing happen, and how did you build up an audience? You said 500,000 people a month. Listen, that's amazing. How did you build that?
Well, firstly, I started it 5 or 6 years ago, about 5 years ago. And when I started, it was nothing but crickets for at least the first couple of years. It was just me writing and recording podcasts, and basically like my mom and little brother listening. And it was crickets for a while, and then a few people started to pick up on it. People were starting to find my website. People would, search for things on Google, and it all of a sudden started showing up on the first page for certain things, like how do I become more confident? How do I get over public speaking anxiety? How do I become more productive, set goals, find meaningful work? And this started showing up, and people were starting to find it. And that gave me that encouragement that I needed to continue going. Because I was at the point where, gosh, I'm doing this for 2 years.
All right, so you're out speaking.
Sure.
Then you start the podcast.
Yeah.
And then FlashBooks.
Yeah.
So you really have like 3 businesses, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
How many employees?
22.
22?
Yeah, so
and where are your offices?
So global. So, I mean, we don't have a building. So almost all of my employees are remote. So we have some friends in Canada, Bangladesh, all over the United States of America. So in the UK as well. And so my team's everywhere.
How did FlashBooks start?
So FlashBooks was born of my own dorky habit of keeping notes on all the books that I read. And so it's just been something that I've always done. As I read books, I literally have a notebook right there with me, and I'm just taking notes of the stuff that stands out to me. Oh, I can take action on this. Oh, I can apply this to help me achieve this goal. And so I just write down big ideas, highlight, dog-ear the pages, put notes on the margins. And so I would keep these notes. Eventually I transcribed them to like a Google Doc. And I just held on to it, and every now and then I'd share it with a friend. And one day, one of these books here on your shelf, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, which is one of my favorite books.
I met Stephen. Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah. This book is incredible. I recommend it to anybody that's listening to your feed, and everybody that's part of the Leap Foundation, because this book helped me make leaps and bounds in my career and also in my personal life with my
Right.
wife and raising my daughter Nora. And so, but powerful book. So that book, a buddy of mine asked me if I had the notes on them, and I said, yeah, sure. I sent him the Google Doc link.
Right.
And he shared it with another friend of his, and that friend shared it with another friend of his, and then people were asking me if I had, hey, you got notes on this book? You got notes on this book? And I started saying, yeah, sure, here you go. And then eventually I smartened up and I realized that there might be a business idea behind this. And that's how I started Flashbooks. And
so you had the ability to either listen to it for a 20-minute segment or read a 10-page PDF. How do you do those? Is it a site online?
Yeah. So you can just go to getflashbooks.com, and you just like your Netflix subscription.
Oh,
you
cool.
Just sign up, and yeah, you can download the audio version or you can download the PDF.
All right,
whatever you
cool.
prefer.
All right, so what's next for Dean?
Well, what's next for me is right now I'm working on a project called Dean's Library, which is sort of like a Netflix for personal development stuff. So if you want to learn how to get motivated or how to be more productive or just get focused or get away from the distractions that we've got in our lives, how do we do that, and how do we do that in the most effective possible way? And so this Dean's Library is kind of like a place where you can go to better yourself in one way, shape, or another, depending on what your goals are and what you're trying to do. So yeah, that's something that I'm working on right now.
Awesome.
And I'm really excited about it.
And if students watching this wanted to contact you with any kinds of questions, is it the best way through your website? Or?
Yeah, you can get in touch with me on my website.
All right, so you just go to www.deanbakari.com. It's BOKHARI.com. Yeah. Hey, Dean, thank you. And hopefully you can put this on your podcast and people can hear it there too.
Send it over.
All right, thanks so much.
Thank you, Bill.
All right, we'll see you next week with another great Meet the Mentor.